Troy, 1 week in, can you draw any conclusions, good or bad?
I wouldn't say conclusions, no, not in that regard. I mean, we're plugging and we're moving forward, each day, and we do work really, really well. I mean, I think there are times, I think anywhere you go across the country in the first 2 days, guys work well. They're light, and they feel fresh and the whole bit, but that's not reality. There's no such thing as fresh and perfect, and that's where you find out who really likes football and who likes the pounding and the grit part of it.
You seeing any cohesion among your first units, offense, defense?
I don't. Not yet, Jim. Just because we have so many moving parts. We're in significant overdrive, not quite maniacal, maybe maniacal, when it comes to individual development, and still looking at some things scheme-wise too.
Have you noticed a new gear, or a new level of just understanding the offense with Arion now that he's a full season under his belt?
Better, and yet he's still a guy that's driven to even further grasp the craft of playing quarterback, especially being an Air Force quarterback, but it means a lot to him.
How important is a day like this for Isaiah Sanders when he gets to have so many reps because Arion and Nate go to the side?
Yeah, it's huge. I think you look at those quarterbacks, a bunch of them. The number of snaps they are all able to accrue, but for Isaiah to have probably well over 50 snaps, scrimmage type snaps, those are good experiences. And the spring that he had too, he had a bunch during the spring also, which were live snaps.
And especially a day like today where you're trying, I think, throughout the season to develop depth. I would think a day like today's really
you are, yeah, absolutely, Jim. I mean, that's the part there where you mentioned a little bit earlier. We really don't, there are parts where maybe, if we were forced to play today, I mean, obviously you'd have to put somebody out there initially, but there are just so many different guys that are moving in different directions. That's why, you got to start with the system and teach and make sure that it is well taught and well understood by each player. And, the more confidence they gain in a system, then, some of the tweaks and some of the other things maybe you can do down the road when it comes to game planning. But you got to have a foundation first.
When you talked to the luncheon, I believe the phrase you used was total overhaul. I think. I'm trying to remember the exact phrase. I think it was total overhaul. How was we laying concrete? How was the overhaul going?
Yeah, the concrete, no. There's no, neither concrete nor blacktop. Nope, we're still down in there. Just make sure all the mud and the dirt and the rocks are all jumbled up in a good way.
Go ahead. How many snaps did you guys do today live?
Oh, I think it's probably close to about 100, and probably about I'd say it was close to 190 snaps live. Between we had a bunch of football being played today.
And with a spot like receiver, where it's pretty good competition between those top 3 or 4 guys. What did Makovich show you when he goes up and catches that ball and makes a diving catch, had a seal block on a play?
Yeah, I think those 3, I think you can see, you look forward to being able to develop and work with those guys, Gerard, Marcus, and then also Jake. Each of the 3 brings something to help us, and they each have ability. I mean, a lot of what you look at our team, we do have ability. We got to continue to ascend, and our guys understand that, and they want to.
With as many new faces on defense, or at least new starting faces, is it a matter of chemistry with them that's the biggest thing to see success going forward?
Yeah, I'd say even for our team as a whole. I mean, your culture, your program really never changes. It doesn't. Your culture is your culture. And that lasts for 5 years, 8 years, whatever. But each team has their own unique chemistry and identity. And I will say this, we have put. I mean, I don't know if there's anywhere that puts more in their younger players than we do. It's not something that's seen, just because sometimes those guys, you have your starters out there on a Saturday, but if a guy's a junior right now, we've invested a ton in him, in the weight room and on the field. Our coaches have, and so it's not like you're brand new or completely green, and so I think that helps you, maybe expedite a little bit some of the growth that you want to have occur. Now, by no means are there any guarantees of that.
Sure. When we see that new personality and identity, especially on the defensive side, who are the voices that are kind of starting to emerge as leaders?
Well, I mean, you look, there's some guys that have significant leadership ability over there, especially, Santo Coppola. and Grant Ross, you know, those two guys, I mean, they have plenty of octane, which we need, and it rubs off on others.
Would you put Cody Moorhead in that?
Absolutely. Loves to play. Absolutely loves to play. Doesn't matter if it's hot, cold. I think where he's from, it's probably rained a time or two and maybe a day or two where it's been a little bit foggy, and it doesn't matter.